Welcome back to episode 52 of Defeating Weekly. I'm your host, Craig Olson. Thank you for checking out this week's episode. And as always, if you've missed any previous episodes, you can visit my YouTube channel as well as find Defeating Weekly on my Facebook. And we are on Spotify as well. So don't hesitate to check those out as well as share those links with others. Also, if you have any comments, thoughts, suggestions, or topics that you would like me to share or that you'd like to hear a message on or that you appreciated, please send me a message and comment and get in touch with me. I love having conversations, so please don't hesitate. This week's episode is based off of one of my first loves, and that's baseball. Now, the phrase dog days of summer is often used to describe the hottest parts of the baseball season that happen late in July and into August when the baseball teams have played 100 plus games and the season's in kind of the home stretch. Everybody on the teams is feeling exhausted and tired, and it's the difficult times. Everybody has these times in their own lives where we just feel exhausted and tired and worn out. And so that's going to be the focus of today's episode, the dog days. This is also very fitting as this week we have the Super Bowl and both teams are extremely beat up and struggling with injuries, and they're simply just trying to push through and make it to the final push and win the Super Bowl. Now, in baseball, these dog days typically fall right when everybody has some form of injuries and nobody has a team that's at 100%. They've got several players that either are out or are struggling and just trying to push it through. However, they're pushing through as they are beginning to fight for the playoffs. They've got the end in sight and are knowing what they need to accomplish over those last 2 months to be able to make it to the playoffs. In our lives, we go through times where we are in our own dog days, those times where we are just completely exhausted or sick or struggling with something. These times are difficult for us to even get up at the beginning of the day and get out of bed. However, these are the times when champions are made. These are the times that really kind of define who we are. These times are where people who have put in the work and the time throughout the rest of the year are able to push through and get after it, even in these difficult times. The dog days are where we have to rely on the skills that we've learned and the habits we've ingrained in our daily lives to be able to kick in and help us be successful and move forward. Now, dog days are exhausting and difficult. And if we don't use those lessons we've learned and the habits we've created, they can be and probably will become overwhelming for you. So some action steps to help when you are in those dog days. Number one, when you're feeling the dog days, really refocus and revisit the goals you have for yourself that you're working towards and the habits that you have ingrained in your daily life to help you get through them. Number two, confide in your trusting supports that you have for help and be vulnerable and ask for help on staying focused. The dog days in baseball are when the team relies on itself with one another in order to move forward. They don't try doing it individually if they want to be successful. If you have not allowed people to be able to help you for a long time, you may have to specifically ask them for help and share with what you need. If you've trained people around you that you're going to say no when you need help, you might have to reach out and say, hey, I need help and here's how I need help, and kind of retrain them to be willing to help. And then number three, acknowledge the struggles and be nice to yourself. I personally am going through kind of the dog days right now with some things I got going on, and it definitely makes things a struggle. If I get mad at myself for the struggles, it doesn't do anything to help me. It actually hurts me more. And the goal is to work through these days and come out on the other side, because there is the other side for this. And that is what we're trying to get to. This week's quote is one that I feel is very important and kind of puts the final touches on this week's episode. And that's, we don't develop courage by being happy every day. We develop by surviving difficult times and challenging adversity. And that's by Barbara DeAngelis. And it just really shows that, when we're in the dog days, that's where we're being molded and chiseled and fine-tuned. So if you're in those dog days right now, we're all right there with you. Don't hesitate to reach out for supports. Reach out to me. We can have a conversation and see how I could possibly help you, and maybe you help me, vice versa. As always, I hope you have a great day and defeat the weak.